what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. If you are new to me, I post faith videos every single Wednesday. I sprinkle homeschool videos in between. Tap that subscribe button and tap that notification bell. Today is a homeschool video for you. It is homeschooling my biggest mistakes. And let's see, I have 10 of them. So let's get going with it. Number 1, over planning and under planning. Here we go. So the over planning comes in because I actually scheduled out my entire year, like wrote it out, typed it out. I had this beautiful year-long lesson plan starting at the end of July, going all the way until the end of May, and all of these activities and these plans. And plans are only as good as the way that you can execute them. And we all know that life gets in the way, sickness happens, trips happen, you don't have very good days with homeschooling, and so that is one of the biggest mistakes that I made, was over planning, because I am a kind of one-track person. Some days, some things just take longer. Now, with me having like this sort of one-track mind, like I had in my head, like, no, we're gonna do this. Like, we have to do this and we need to stay on track. If we don't stay on track, then we're gonna be doing Saturday work and then we're gonna be doing Sunday work. And that is wrong, because in the beginning, I was this nervous Nelly, anxious person. Like, we're homeschooling and this is my children's education and I have to do this, because if I don't, then it's their education and then they're gonna fail, which means that I have failed. Okay, and that's wrong too. Because at the end of the day, I guarantee you're doing more than you think you do. Audrey, you're doing more than you think, you're doing. So anyway, little pep talk there. But here's what you can do for planning, is get your skeleton framework. So decide what you are going to do for each individual subject, but don't sit down and map out every single moment of every single day for those 180 days or whatever your state requires. Don't do that. Have the skeleton framework and then go from there. So here's where I flip-flopped, is because the first 2 years when I did that, I said, you know what? Here we go. I'm going to sort of underplan. And the way that I underplanned was, I said, you know what? I'm going to cut out everything and I'm just going to plan every single week. Here's what happened with that, is that became overwhelming, because then I started to have to plan every single week. Who wants to do that? Nobody. Nobody wants to do that. How did I fix it? Here's how I fixed it. Is Homeschool Tracker is awesome. I used to like write out what I was going to do every 3 weeks, and that really did work. Here's the problem with writing though, is that you're writing it. That takes time. I want to get stuff done. I want to work efficiently because I want to go play. I want to play. And so, and then like if we had missed stuff, then I'd have to like move things, and I didn't want to move on to I didn't want it to be Thursday, but then be looking at Wednesday's work. So Homeschool Tracker is amazing. When I get new curriculum in, I input that curriculum into Homeschool Tracker, so it's there. I know that that is the curriculum that we are going to be able to do for however long of time. Now, once I input that into like all the lesson plans and stuff, what I'll do is I will schedule out 3 weeks in Homeschool Tracker. And this is super easy because if we miss something, I can click and I can drag it to the next day. How else this is also beneficial is because now our oldest, and actually in the next few weeks, our youngest is going to start getting out a printed daily task list. It keeps them on track. It keeps them motivated. They have all of their instructions for every single lesson. I am still teaching them, but then being able to visually see what's coming next, what's coming in the next couple days has been super helpful, not just for me for planning, but also for them. So that's number 1. Number 2, not taking breaks. So I mentioned about Saturdays and Sundays. The first year, I was like, no, we need to be at this point by this time, not taking into account that my daughter needed just a little bit more time and a little bit more extra practice with some of her math, with some of her other subjects that we were studying. And so what I was doing was I was giving extra work and I was moving on a Saturday and sometimes a Sunday. I know I sound like a lunatic, but it was the first year I was was nervous because that, like, I wasn't going to be doing enough, and well, that's garbage. So don't do that. Take breaks. What I have found best with taking breaks is after about 7 weeks, everyone is burnt. Like, they're tired. You're really tired. And so we will take a week long, or at least like a couple days every 7 weeks, because we homeschool all year round. And if you're not familiar, we homeschool all year round because we travel, we go to see family, or we just want to be together as a family, like without doing schoolwork. And why not homeschool all year round? We're trying to build lifelong learners, and learning doesn't just happen 8 or 9 months out of the year. Learning is constantly happening. And so that's a big reason why we homeschool all year round. But you need to take those breaks. They are these little humans that are trying to learn so much stuff. And just like you need a break, they need a break. All right, number 3, not taking educational field trips to break up the day. This is something that I will be getting better about taking educational field trips. Where we used to live, there were some educational field trips, not a ton, but that will be changing. Even public school goes on field trips. Even private school, Catholic school, they go on field trips. So as homeschoolers, make sure that you are scheduling them in. And that's partly on me why we haven't taken so many field trips, is because I'm like, well, like, this is our schedule, because I'm slightly type A. I call myself like a diet type A. But make sure that you're scheduling field trips. It's a nice brain break while also educating. Now, when you take those field trips, still make it an educational opportunity. Like, make the older kids write about it. If you are going to a national park, have them be part of the Junior Ranger program. So, because those books are fun, and they learn something, they get the badge after. It's a memento, it's a keepsake. Number 4, going along with breaks, is breaks during the day. Take breaks during the day. We start school at 8:15 right now. We used to start closer to 9, but it's been working out so much better to start at 8:15, because then by noon the kids are like glazed over. They get about an hour break, and then we just finish up with science, and that's it. So take breaks during the day. I mean, they get breaks in school, sort of. They get like 15 minutes, go run around. But I give them about 30 to 45 minutes. But then there's only another like 30 to 40 minutes of science that is left after lunch. And they love doing science after lunch. So we're keeping that. Everything else in the morning, like math and writing. Absolutely no way am I doing math and reading and IEW work in the afternoon. Not happening. So we are done with school around 1:30, and then they can play for, I'll say 2 o'clock. Let me just say 2. And then they can play for the rest of the day. If they just want to like eat real quick and do science, then yeah, we'll be done maybe by 1:15. Fridays are shorter because it's kind of like test day. And so we're pretty much done around 11:30 on Fridays, because they have worked so hard the other 4 days. Number 5, going along with working hard, don't overwork your students. Oh my goodness. Just because you can do it in such and such amount of time doesn't mean that they can do it in that. Remember that they are still children. They are not these workhorses that you can be like, rah, do it. So with scheduling out your work, make sure it is appropriate for that child. Every child is different. Our children are totally different when it comes to math and reading and how they process and everything like that, and how much they can do just because of their preferences. So don't overwork them. Schedule things out. I mean, don't go at like a snail pace or anything, but don't just learn your children, learn your own school. Number 6, this is a big one that I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about, but needs to be said because maybe there's someone else out there who falls under this too. But number 6 is focus on your relationship with your children. Something that I've been reflecting on lately is that I have gotten so much into teacher mode that it's almost like, I know my children are there, okay? But it's almost like I'm so focused on them learning that I'm not actually seeing them like as my children, because I'm so focused on teaching a concept that make sure that you're fostering those relationships with your children while you're learning, because being at home with them is such a gift. Don't get so wrapped up in the curriculum that you let the curriculum overtake you and you just start like spewing out the facts and how to do something and explaining something and, okay, we're gonna do this and like we're gonna do this and here's like your lessons on here, but now we're moving over here, and like it's like those are your children, like sit down. And so the other day our 4-year-old wanted to sit in my lap and do her schoolwork. You know what, I'm not gonna get that time back. I'm not. And so I said, yeah, sure. So she sat in my lap. She did all of her work, but she sat in my lap and I just like held her, right? So make sure that you're continuously focusing on your relationship with your kids, and they are people too, and they're your children. So give them hugs during the day. It's wonderful. All right, number 7. Ugh, I cringe at this one. Oh my goodness. Money. The money that I could have saved by just waiting. Now I've said before, I think I said this in one of my like homeschool videos, that like tours and stuff like that. But the money that I could have saved by just waiting just a little bit, it's a lot of money. I'm using everything. I really am. But did I need to buy stuff so soon? No, I didn't. Now, we still have a 4-year-old. She seems to be using like all the stuff that my other 2 didn't, so that's great. But just be patient with what you're getting. Now, there are standard stuff that you need, right? Like pens, pencils, markers, everything. So check out my Amazon store. I have an entire list of stuff that I personally use like on the daily in our homeschool room. So make sure, like, go check that out. But oh man, you don't have to have this perfect homeschool setup. We did homeschooling at our dining room table and that worked out fine. And then we were able to have a designated space, to which I'm super thankful for. I really am, because I think it makes a difference. Everyone has their own workstation. They're able to focus. They set up like their little trinkets and stuff like that. So, but if you're just starting out, don't think that you have to go like redesign and Joanna Gaines your whole schoolroom and stuff. So anyway, number 8, things are just not working. Things are just not working. I tried so hard to force a certain math program. I know I've talked about this ad nauseum about the differences in learning styles and stuff. Like I tried forcing Singapore math on our oldest for so long, and it just didn't work. It really didn't, and that's okay. I am not going to force a certain learning style on a child, because then I just may as well put her in school with the herd. And for some people that works. For me, that doesn't work. And I tried making it work for a long time. And then I realized, like, you need to make a change. Like, stop trying to fit, what's the saying? Like, stop trying to fit a square inside a circle, whatever. And so follow their learning style. If things aren't working, they're not working for a reason. You got to give it a shot, though. I mean, you can't just be like, oh, like, after a week, things aren't working, I'm going to switch. No, I gave this a legit, like, 2 years before I switched, almost 2.5 years before I switched programs. So you need to really, and maybe that was too long, you really need to learn your children's style of learning, how they process things, but while still giving them the opportunity to see things a different way, because you don't want them to have this narrow focus, which is why I love the program Math You See because they teach you math several different ways so that you're familiar with different ways of doing that particular math problem. But in the end, you know how to do it like the way that fits your brain, right? All right, so that was another. Number 9, oh, here's something I'm really bad at. One of my biggest mistakes is not taking time for yourself. One of the things that I really have enjoyed doing, which I haven't done in a while, is doing my nails. So I might do that this weekend. But like seriously taking time for yourself. And one of the things that I like doing is I like being in the house by myself. I do. I like cleaning the house by myself, or even like cleaning the house in general is not a job to me. Like that is part of my duty as a wife, as a mother, as the keeper of this house. But I really enjoy cleaning the house. Like I love making the beds, I love vacuuming, and I especially love hand washing my floors. But that's just me. If you like going on like girls' night out and stuff, which I do enjoy that too, I really do. But I really honestly just want to be with my husband. So I know a lot of people like they want to go out and you know go with girls' night, and I have friends that I go out with. I want to sound like a hermit, but I really just want to be with him. So, but you need to figure out something for you need to figure out something for yourself. Something else that I like doing. I did a video on it, so check it out up here, check it out down there. Are things that I like doing for myself. Go check that out. Number 10. Here we go. Number 10. Avoid comparisons. This is something that I think we're all guilty of, whether it's homeschooling, whether it's momming, and so forth, but avoiding comparisons. This is the true worst thing that you can do, because then you start getting cloudy and you start thinking that you're not a good enough homeschool mom and you're not doing this and you're not doing that. Look, everyone's got their own style. Everyone's got their own flavor. What is going to help your students to learn the best way possible? How can your students learn? How can they love learning? And I've said it before, I'll say it again, but what is going to help you to develop those awesome humans who are going to go out into the world, who are going to know, love, and serve the Lord, who are going to appreciate that there is beauty in truth, who are going to understand history, who are going to truly understand science and how science is connected to math, is connected to English, is connected to history. Why? Because they all come from God. Avoid comparing yourself to someone else. Someone else's life is totally different. They have something else that's going on for them. So avoid that completely. All right, Audrey, these are my top 10 biggest mistakes that I've done. What are some of your biggest mistakes that you have made? Leave me a comment below. Give this video a thumbs up. I will catch you in next week's video. Tap that subscribe button. God bless all of you. Bye.